Hola chicos! Today we're learning some more irregular preterite verbs. We're going to review preterite forms of regular AR, ER, and IR verbs, which you should be pretty good at, and then review irregular preterite verbs we already know. And then on top of that, we're going to learn some new irregular preterite verbs that have odd stems. So, you know these AR verbs and the preterite a, aste, o, almozaron. ER, IR, they're exactly the same endings. Iste, io, imos, and ieron. Cars, gars, and zars, we sang about them. You remember that they're irregular only in the yo form, Cars changed to que. We talked about sacar. And those are some other car verbs that also follow those same rules. Sacar, tocar, explicar, buscar, indicar, practicar. Gar verbs changed to giui. Jugar is the one we use most often. Some other examples are jugar, llegar, pagar, apagar, and pegar. Then zar verbs changed to ce, almorzar, we used a lot. We can also use empezar, cruzar, comenzar, and lanzar. So you've got irregulars on your note sheet. See if you remember these. See if you can fill in the blanks with the correct forms of hacer, ir, and ser. Remember, ir and ser are the same. Pause your video, take a second, and do that. All right, remember, you shouldn't have had any accent marks on these. Hopefully you came up with hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, and hicieron. Fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, and fueron. How about dar and ver? Do the same thing. Try and pause your video. See how you do. Also in these, no accents. Di, diste, dio, dimos, dieron. Vi, viste, vio, vimos, and vieron. So now we've got some irregular stems for these verbs that are listed in the little like bulleted points on your note sheet. So there's no accents here either. One last thing to remember, venir, your stem is vin, poder pude, poner pus, saber sup, estar estuv, tener tuv, andar anduv, querer quis, totally irregular, and caber cup. And these are the endings that you add to these. E, iste, o, imos, ieron. They're kind of a combination of both AR endings and ER, IR endings. So you take the stem, you throw one of those endings on there, and you've perfectly conjugated one of those verbs in the preterite. Más irregulares, we have traer. Whoops. There's no accents. Here you go. You got one of your endings already. There's no accents. Traer goes to tra. Decir, dich. They're J verbs. Producir, produj. Conducir, conduj. I call them J verbs because their stem has a J in it. Here's the rest of those endings. E, iste, o, imos, and eron. And again, you'll notice it's a combination of both ER and IR endings. A little weird. Then we have some sandalias, and this is on the back side. Sandalias mean that they are stem changers, and they're only irregular in the el, ella, usted form and ellos, ellas, ustedes form. And you'll see why we call them sandalias. So seguir means to follow. It's an E to I stem changer. Segui, seguiste, siguió. There's your stem change. Seguimos, seguisteis, siguieron. Only stem changes in those bottom two forms. And because of that, it's a flip-flop. You can draw a fancy little flip-flop around them. Other E to I stem changers include those. Copy those down just because if you come across one and you need to conjugate it, you should remember that it follows that sandal rule. Dormir, to sleep, this is an O to U stem changer. And again, it's only going to change in those bottom two forms. Dormí, dormiste, dormió. Dormimos, dormisteis, and dormieron. Again, bottom two forms, throw a box around it, looks like a flip-flop. Some other O to U stem changers, dormirse, to fall asleep, and then morir, to die. What a terrible verb. And then leer, to read. It's an E to I stem changer. Leí, leíste, leyó. Leímos, leísteis, leyeron. You got those Y's down at the bottom. Super irregular. It just means there were too many vowels in a row and we had to replace one with a Y. It's a sandal. Some other ones that follow this rule are construir, creer, oír, and callarse. Again, just copy those down. We'll be using them in class, and you may read something that has those in there. Okay, don't forget to check the correct answers on your Google form, and you will be all ready for tomorrow. Adios!